I just finished off giving an interview with Will Cain on Fox and Friends Weekend. I thought you might enjoy some of the comments about my observations involving President Trump and the Mar-a-Lago warrant. Stay tuned. Hey folks, I'm Mark Smith, host of the Four Boxes Diner, best-selling author, constitutional attorney, member of the United States Supreme Court Bar, and proud American gun owner. If you haven't subscribed to the Four Boxes Diner Second Amendment channel, please do so and show your love for the right to keep and bear arms. And feel free to share and distribute these videos far and wide. We appreciate that. Okay, I know we usually talk about Second Amendment issues, but I think there's been a lot of questions about this Trump warrant and Mar-a-Lago and my thoughts on it. And I just finished off an interview with Will Cain on Fox and Friends Weekend over on the Fox News channel. So since I figured I just did that, I thought I would elaborate on some of my thoughts. And I thought because, of course, where the Department of Justice and where the government is going on some of these issues, it could affect ultimately your Second Amendment rights, especially your choices of who can become the next president of the United States in 2024. So I thought we could talk about that for a few minutes. So, okay, here's a few observations that I have. To start, I am a little perplexed by the Department of Justice's conduct here. Why? Well, I can't figure out why the United States Department of Justice feels the need to focus on President Trump and any documents he may have taken from the White House. It just doesn't seem to add up as best I can tell for several reasons. First of all, the Department of Justice and the prosecutors and the FBI have limited resources. They can choose who they go after and who they don't go after, how they allocate the resources, how they choose not to allocate the resources. And my question is, why are they allocating resources to what appears to be at most a dispute about who should hold on to these documents, if any, that are down at Mar-a-Lago? Now, let us assume there is a legitimate debate between the former President of the United States, President Trump, and the United States government about whether or not these documents that are at Mar-a-Lago belong to the federal government and or are sensitive documents. Is it mission critical that you use the criminal process to resolve this dispute? Remember, there's really two types of legal justice in the court systems in America. There's civil cases where you and I sue each other over money or relief. You know, we bring a lawsuit against the state of California to say you cannot enforce gun laws. And they say, yes, we can, and then a court decides it. Those are civil cases. Then you have criminal cases where you're really threatening someone that because they may have violated the law, we're going to put you in jail. We're going to make you a criminal. So the first question I kind of have is, why does this fight about documents have to be a criminal matter and not a civil matter? Why couldn't the Department of Justice have simply brought a lawsuit if they felt the need to go get the documents? I mean, you can issue subpoenas. You can have court orders telling Donald Trump to turn over documents. This happens all the time. So why should the Department of Justice, which has its own civil division, by the way, I mean, people forget that the Department of Justice has not just the criminal division, but also a civil division. So why the Department of Justice chose to go the criminal route with a criminal warrant, criminal search warrant, and not just the civil route over who should keep the documents or how should they be copied or how should they be treated, is perplexing to me. Because criminal is like at a heightened level, and why get involved with that? This doesn't seem to make sense to me at this point. The second thing I want to mention is, you know, prosecutors, the United States Attorney's Office, the Attorney General of the United States, part of what you're supposed to do is not just follow the letter of the law to the T. You're supposed to exercise what's known as prosecutorial judgment, prosecutorial discretion. And what that means is, now I can tell you as a trial lawyer who's done major lawsuits across the country involving massive amounts of money, that my job against my adversary was to read every single statute, every single law, and try to frame it in some particular way that was advantageous to my private client. And the other side would do the same. And then through that war, through that battle and conflict, you hoped, at least the justice system hopes, you get to some true and just outcome. That's at least the theory. But when you're the federal government and you're the Attorney General of the United States, your job is not to do what I used to do, which is just fight to the death every single time on every single issue and apply the law in a way that's most favorable to you, because you're special. You're not a private litigant fighting other private parties, all of whom are lawyered up to the hilt. Your job as the Attorney General is to make, decisions as to, well, I understand an argument can be made about a law, but it's a stretch, or, that's not really what the law's about. I know I could make the argument, but it's not what the law's about. And it seems to me that the laws they're talking about here, the three statutes, which I've read clearly, are really talking about things other than like the president holding on to a handful of documents that may or not be classified, may or may not be important to the national defense. It seems like the statutes they're relying on are really about thwarting spying. It's about thwarting people from undercutting the security of the United States. And it's about, interfering with criminal prosecutions and things like destroying documents when the government's trying to get them. It just, again, I'm not saying that I can't read these statutes in a way to argue that Trump has done something wrong. I guess maybe you could, but that's not the gist of these statutes. These criminal statutes they're talking about are really seem to be designed for bad actors, spies, people that want to sell our secrets to the Chinese, things like that. It doesn't seem to be serving the purpose of these statutes to be harassing the president of the United States, the former president of the United States, over documents that he may have kept arguably wrongfully, at least according to the federal government. But the third kind of thing I want to point out is, and I said this on Fox News as well, who decides what's classified? Who decides what's national defense information? Who decides what's sensitive? And at the end of the day, if you think about it, it's really the commander-in-chief, because there's one person in the United States that has been designated by we the people in a national election to represent our interest in all things national security, and that is the executive branch, that is the President of the United States, that is the Commander-in-Chief. So when you and I talk about what's confidential, what's sensitive, what's top secret, what's classified, at the end of the day, who gets to make that decision? Well, it's not Congress, it's not the courts, it's not you, it's not I. It is the President of the United States, because the Commander-in-Chief ultimately has the final responsibility to protect us. So if Donald Trump, as the President of the United States, decided to declassify documents, then that was his prerogative. That's part of his authority. And any regulations promulgated by unelected bureaucrats or any congressional statute promulgated by congressmen, none of this is, as I see, constitutionally can override the power of the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief to determine what should be kept confidential and what should be deemed top secret and what should not be. And because Donald Trump, as the President, had this final say, my argument is by effectively flying away with these documents, he effectively declassified these as a matter of fact. So it seems to me that constitutionally, you can't prosecute Trump under these statutes if you want to argue they're classified or top secret, because by taking them, essentially eliminated that or altered their classification status. The next thing I think it's important to say is why now? I mean, one of the things that perplexed me about this warrant is why is this happening in August 2022? I mean, President Trump has been out of office for 18 months, so why are we dealing with this now? I don't have a good argument. Certainly, if there was concerns that they had nuclear secrets, which seems to be a bit absurd. I don't know what possible nuclear secrets the president could have that would be kind of, particularly relevant to anyone. So the federal government waits 18 months to get back these documents, and they wait until August, literally a couple months before a midterm election, where it seems to me politically that if you're the Democrats, you want to make the midterm election largely about Donald Trump, right? Because you think you beat him before and all these sorts of things. You think he's a good, guy to get your vote out, your base inspired, especially since the Biden economic policies and the Biden policies on the border don't seem to be very popular. So it seems to me turning the election from a referendum on Joe Biden and making it all about Donald Trump would be probably good for the Democrats. And one wonders whether or not that decision to go after Donald Trump in August of 2022, after waiting 18 months, is motivated in part by politics. It's hard to say that it's not. I guess only time will tell. Okay, I hope you learned a little bit something here today at the Four Boxes Diner. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And again, we'll see you again soon here at the Four Boxes Diner.
Orders up. Table 2A.